And on to the big story this evening. Income tax survey in the BBC offices in India has sparked off a tempestuous political storm. While the BJP calls it probity, the opposition calls it a witch hunt for its docu-series India, the Modi Question. Perhaps it's time to now sift through the political rhetoric and bring you the facts as they stand as of now. The IT department has not called it a raid on BBC, but a survey for probity. As sleuths entered the Delhi headquarters and the Mumbai offices, sources said they are suspecting tax evasion and international taxation and transfer pricing irregularities. In fact, they also pointed to persistent and deliberate violation of norms and non-compliance by BBC for years altogether. They have, remember, collected digital data and even seized the phones of some of the BBC employees who were in the building at the time of the survey. And after the survey, the BBC has also responded on their part. The BBC says that they are cooperating with the IT authorities and hope that the situation is resolved soon. Meanwhile, the opposition has questioned the timing of this IT survey, linking it to the ban on the BBC series on Prime Minister Modi. They say that this is an undeclared emergency imposed by the BJP. For them, BJP is being persecuted, not prosecuted, for dissent.
यहाँ हम जेपीसी की मांग कर रहे हैं अडानी के मामले में, और वहाँ सरकार बीबीसी के पीछे पड़ी हुई है। विनाशकाले विपरीत बुद्धि।
भारतीय जनता पार्टी बीबीसी से बहुत परेशान थी। आप उनके किसी के भी ट्विटर हैंडल्स देख लीजिए, उनके नेताओं के वक्तव्य देख लीजिए, उनके लिए बीबीसी पिछले एक महीने से सबसे बड़ा खतरा था। जिस तरीके से इन्होंने इन सबको कुचला है, ईडी के नाम पे, सीबीआई के नाम पे, इनकम टैक्स के नाम पे, दुनिया में आज एक मैसेज जा रहा है कि केंद्र सरकार, भारत की केंद्र सरकार एक न्यूज एजेंसी के पीछे इस तरीके की बदला की भावना से पड़ सकती है। इससे सिर्फ प्रधानमंत्री जी की या केंद्र की नहीं, पूरे भारत की छवि जो है खराब हो रही है।
Meanwhile, the Home Minister has lashed out at BBC for targeting Prime Minister Modi. Since 2002, the BJP on its part has defended the IT department's probe, saying it's not a caged parrot.
देखिए, सत्य जो होता है इस पर 1000 कॉन्स्पिरेसी कर लो, कुछ नहीं होता है। वो करोड़ों सूर्य की भांति तेजस्वी बनकर ही बाहर आता है। ये तो मोदी जी के पीछे 2002 से कर रहे हैं, और हर बार मोदी जी मजबूत होकर, सच्चे बनकर और जनता की ज्यादा लोकप्रियता हासिल कर बाहर आए हैं।
कोई भी एजेंसी हो, मीडिया से जुड़ी हो, कंपनी हो, अगर भारत में वो काम कर रही है तो उसको भारत के कानून को मानना होगा, उसका पालन करना होगा। अगर कुछ गलत किया नहीं है, कानून का पालन किया है, तो फिर डर कैसा? बीबीसी के अगर कृत्य देखें, जिसके उदाहरण मैं आपके समक्ष अभी पेश करूंगा, तो ये पूरे विश्व की सबसे भ्रष्ट बकवास कॉरपोरेशन हो गई है। और दुख की बात यह है कि बीबीसी का प्रोपेगेंडा और कांग्रेस का एजेंडा एक साथ मेल खाता है। और यह कहना गलत नहीं है। क्यों ऐसा होता है कि कांग्रेस का हाथ देश विरोधियों के साथ?
And the first response coming in from the UK government, as per sources, the government is closely monitoring the reports of tax surveys conducted at the offices of BBC in India. So this is as per sources in the UK government. Let me quickly go across to Priyank joining us with more details. The UK government is very closely monitoring the situation here. Remember, this income tax survey had been ongoing at the offices of BBC in Mumbai and in the national capital for hours altogether today.
Yeah, it's a big embarrassment for them as well, because they're the official broadcaster. It has been put under scrutiny by the Indian government for the tax evasion. That is a clear point for which the UK authorities have also been keeping a close watch on the development which is happening. We know that the BBC has also come up with statement that they are cooperating with the investigation. But it's been almost 7 hours since the IT officials are here at the BBC BBC office here in the national capital as well as in Mumbai to gather more and more electronic, information from them. Yes, throughout the day, it was a hectic day for those people who were there on the editorial side. They stated that certainly their laptops were also scanned. But the IT department has been maintaining that they have nothing to do with the editorial staff of the BBC. But it is for sure that the mobile phones have not been allowed to be used by them over the period of last 7 hours. The UK government has also come out with their own statement. They are saying that they are monitoring the development because they will have to ask through the counterpart regarding the kind of development which is happening. This is not a minor thing for which the IT department can carry out their surveys, and they can just go to the offices and keep the database just for that. The step which they have taken also need to come to a logical conclusion. That's why the IT department officials are still inside this premises here in the national capital at KG Marg, where the BBC office is situated. So we are waiting that how much more time it will take for them to complete their surveys. In the past, what we have seen in the manner in which raids and searches have been carried out, it has taken few days to complete their searches. But what we are expecting that today the surveys could complete by late evening.
All right, so it's going to be a long day for the income tax officials who have been conducting the survey, as they call it, because they've said that this is not a raid or not a search per se, for probity, of course. Thank you, Priyank, for joining us with those details. We'll keep coming back to you. Let's quickly open this up in the meanwhile, because a lot of political blame game has also ensued in the meanwhile. Syed Zafar Islam, national spokesperson of the BJP, with us, along with author Karan Verma. We also have BRS spokesperson Mr. Krishank and Dr. Sumanth Raman, political analyst himself. Thank you for taking out your time, gentlemen. I want to begin by asking Syed Zafar Islam this, because much of the questions and the criticism that has come in with regards to these surveys, so to say, have come in from the opposition, and no party has, been left out in the allegations that they have been leveling against the BJP, against the central government, because they say that this is a targeted attempt that is being made at the BBC days after BBC released that two-part docu-series on Prime Minister Narendra Modi.
See, BBC is known to tarnish the image of our country, not today, but just go and do a back testing. In the past, you will realize that many such instances you will find during Congress regime, during Indira Gandhi regime, during Jawaharlal Nehru regime. Every time they have done something or the other to destabilize the government, with that they attempt time and again, or tarnish the image of the country and the leadership. I think they have failed in the last 8 or 9 years since our government is there to tarnish the image, because India's image is only rising in the eyes of the global community, and something which is not going down well with the BJP, with the BBC. Now, this particular survey, I mean, surveys being conducted to many Indian companies, to many corporates, it is the responsibility and the authority of the income tax department, because that is their responsibility, and they are just discharging their responsibilities. If they find that there is some tax evasion, it is the responsibility of the tax authorities to conduct a survey, ascertain the details, find out whether the understanding what they have that there is evasion, if there is truth in that or not. All they have to do is just to cooperate with the authorities. If, especially, I have worked in a foreign bank. I know exactly that the terms transfer pricing and its mechanism, there is always a big loophole. And if you don't comply with the set rules, you will eventually...
So the opposition must exercise restraint, given that this is an ongoing process, that the survey is still being conducted.
Opposition has
that the income tax department is yet to, Mr. Islam, publish the final statement.
Opposition is...
Yes, okay. Stay on with us. I want Dr. Sumanth Raman to come in as well, though I'll take in a word from Mr. Krishank as well. Let's really hear it from the opposition.
Just a second.
Okay. Make your point.
10 seconds. 10 seconds. All I'm saying that being a responsible opposition parties, they should wait for the authorities to complete their exercise and wait for their statements. Instead of making this kind of allegation, leveling this kind of allegation.
That's exactly how I summed up your analysis, Mr. Syed Zafar Islam, that the opposition must exercise restraint. They must not jump to conclusions, because the investigations are still underway. The IT department officials haven't even stepped out of the Delhi office of the BBC. Dr. Sumanth Raman, and despite all of that, we're also learning, and Times Now has accessed this piece of news. As per the income tax department officials, in case of the BBC, there has been persistent non-compliance with the above-mentioned rules. They've spoken of certain rules that BBC was to oblige to. As a result of the same, several notices have been issued to the BBC, but they have continuously remained defiant and non-compliant and have significantly diverted their profits. That is what is being looked at by the income tax department today. Why is it that the opposition then was quick to jump to this whole, this episode being linked directly to the BBC docu-series and the central government's take on it?
Now, first of all, these are completely allegations which the income tax department is making. If they have sent notices earlier to BBC, why can't they put them out in public domain? That will sort out the issue. After all, these are not top secret. They are basically documents which are sent asking for information related to specific transactions. And if they are, they would have been sent either by email or by letter. So let the department come out and put out that information. Look, the timing is what makes it hugely suspect.
So you're saying why not, unlike in the past as has been done, why not come out with an official notice? Is that what you're saying?
No. If BBC has been continuously non-compliant with the rules and regulations, then clearly the department must have given them some kind of warning or notice or letter or communication.
And they did so, Dr. Sumanth Raman, back in the day as well. During Atal Bihari Vajpayee ji's rule, thereafter as well, during the Congress rule, all of those income tax notices were given to BBC in the past. Of course, they were quashed by the Delhi High Court in 2014 and 16, but the fact remains that it's not a new trouble for the BBC in that sense.
They are being quashed repeatedly by the courts. Then it clearly shows that when the ruling government of the day, the BBC, does something to annoy them, an income tax survey or notice will follow. And you have seen in the past, you yourself have said that the Delhi High Court has already quashed some of these notices which were issued in the previous. Mr. Zafar Islam is equating it with what Indira Gandhi did. Well, good luck. I mean, if he is willing to go as far as and say that the present Modi government is as autocratic as Indira Gandhi was in her time, well, fine. I mean, then that's an admission of it's a sort of same-side goal that Mr. Zafar Islam is scoring. Comparing it to Indira Gandhi and comparing it to her clampdown and comparing it to, perhaps even the emergency when media was cracked down upon.
All of those comparisons, Dr. Sumanth Raman, today are being made because there seems to be a deliberate attempt to link it to the Modi docu-series. That's the problem here. The problem here is not whether or not these income tax surveys should have taken place, should have not taken place, because the IT department is saying this is very routine in its nature. I want Karan Verma to come in as well. Karan Verma, where do you see the whole problem, especially with regards to the allegations being raised by the opposition?
BBC has said they will continue to cooperate with the investigation.
Okay, Karan.
Can I speak? Kritsween, the opposition unfortunately is so bankrupt of issues that even a simple process, they blow it out of proportion, thinking they'll score some political brownies, but alas, they don't even score political brownies. Now, the fact of the matter is, notices have been issued by the Income Tax Department to BBC for violation of transfer pricing norms. And BBC has done that in many countries in the past also. BBC is not even replying to these notices. Now, when you don't even reply to notices, what do you expect? A simple survey would obviously follow. Now, this is exactly what the Income Tax Department under the IT Act 1961 is doing. So I don't understand how you can connect this with the docu-series, how you can side with BBC, a foreign news agency which casts aspersions on our judiciary system, why you have a soft spot for them just because they speak against the Prime Minister. It is hideous, it befuddles logic and it is devoid of any sort of facts. Let the income tax conduct a survey, it's not even a raid right now, and let them come out with a detailed report.
Okay, all right. Let them come out with a detailed report. Do not jump to conclusions. Do not fearmonger, do not try and link it unnecessarily to the BBC docuseries, is what Karan Verma is saying. I want Mr. Krishank to come in as well, because a very interesting reaction came in from KTR as well, who spoke of this mockingly, called it a big surprise, and thereafter went on to talk about other agencies as well. Mr. Krishank, IT, CBI, ED, said they've all become laughing stock for turning into BJP's biggest puppets. Now, that's not a version that has been put out that's come across as a surprise, really. That's what the opposition goes ahead and maintains each and every time there's a crackdown that takes place from any of the agencies. These are not raids so far, as has been cleared by the income tax, but why is there an attempt that's being made directly to link it to the BBC docuseries controversy, is what I'm trying to understand here.
Well, because if you see, from taking over airports to media institutions, there was Quint, NDTV, IT raids. This doesn't look accidental or something first time at all. Why is it a series that to either take control of the institution or either put them into their place, into control? This modus operandi is being placed. There is something called as the Modi Conduct Certificate. It was no opposition who spoke about the authenticity of BBC than Modi.
No, but why is the problem here with the Modi government then? I mean, I understand if we try and talk about, why we must not have a problem with the BBC. BBC is free to express what it feels is right, and rightfully so is doing the same. But if opposition parties today, the same opposition parties, the likes of Congress, for example, that I've been stating, the emergency time period that we're talking about, if a similar crackdown was witnessed back then as well, the same opposition parties today are up in arms only because it's about Modi government and the Prime Minister.
Yeah, because I believe Mr. Sumanth Raman already made it clear that if your parameters are comparison to Indira Gandhi's emergency period, then how Congress was rejected, then probably Modi ji also will be rejected, because they are the ones who speak against emergency day in and day out. Then what are you doing now today? And I don't think anyone ever, other than Modi ji, compared Indian media up against BBC. He was the one who gave authenticity to BBC against Doordarshan, against Indian media.
Okay. So here's what is happening, and I want Mr. Syed Zafar Islam to have the last say here, because all of those questions are being asked of the BBC, of the BJP, I beg your pardon, a common mistake all of us are making today. But Mr. Islam, how would you respond to this? Given that the income tax is looking at suspected tax evasion, the fact is, and questions are now being asked only because all of this is happening days after the BBC released the two-part docu-series on Prime Minister Narendra Modi, the timing perhaps landing the BJP into a little bit of a trouble.
Where is the trouble? Authorities are discharging their responsibility. Is it a trouble?
Sir,
I mean, those political parties, they need to really introspect what exactly they are up to. They need to understand that there is something which Income Tax Department need to verify, especially, please do not interrupt in between. Please do not, I heard you.
Let him complete.
Your turn was there, you had spoken.
What we are asking is, if this
all I'm trying to tell you that transfer pricing is an issue. I don't know what this man is.
Mr. Krishank, let him have a say, and then you can come in.
Decency to hear other people.
Go ahead, Mr. Syed.
I have heard you. You are not adding anything new to your speech. All I'm trying to tell you that, listen, transfer pricing is something which is an issue which I think many multinational companies have to engage, or Income Tax Department have to survey those multinational companies to understand the transfer pricing mechanism, or to whether they are evading taxes or not. It is not the first time. Many such organizations have to go through, because there is a possibility of tax evasion if they do not comply with the transfer pricing rules. So if they feel that there is something which has been done by BBC, it is the responsibility of the authorities to conduct such surveys to ensure that it is not done.
Okay.
But what is the problem with the opposition parties?
Okay, so this is perhaps to do with the transfer pricing. The result could lead to, services being offered at a cheap price. could in turn lead to loss to the exchequer, and in that sense, those are very valid concerns that the Income Tax Department has. Let them conclude with the investigations or the survey as they are conducting already in the national capital, in Mumbai, in any other city. Why have a problem already, even before a final statement comes in, is what the BJP is maintaining. Gentlemen, stay on with us. We have a breaking news update coming in, so quickly need to shift our focus to another response, the first response from INB Ministry on the ongoing survey that's out already. This is a reaction that's come in, wherein Union Minister Anurag Thakur on the Income Tax Department survey says where irregularities are found, the Income Tax Department conducts surveys from time to time. When the survey work is completed, the Income Tax Department issues a press note and gives information. They will inform when their work is done. So that's the Union Minister settling the debate, saying wait until the Income Tax Department comes out with the conclusive report. With that, it's time for us to head into a very quick break. Thank you, gentlemen, for joining us this evening.
कर ले